Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are doing good. This is your trainer, Akash Sharma, and I hope you had a good day so far. Welcome to day 4 of the National Faculty Development Program in Cybersecurity. I'm glad to connect with you all, and we'll be starting the session now. All right, then. So, today we are going to cover up Linux fundamentals. We are going to cover up the commands, and we'll also see what we can do with Kali Linux, how Kali Linux is structured, what kind of stuff is in there, and how we can interact with it. So that's what we are going to cover up today. Okay. So before I actually begin with the real stuff, let's just get to the basics and clear it out. There are a few terms that I need you to be clear with. I know a few people are still joining in. In the meanwhile, I want to know if there are any doubts from the previous sessions. As I committed, we'll be taking doubts today before we start the actual session. So if there are any doubts from what we have learned so far, this will be the right time you can ask. Okay, so Shreyansh is asking if the NIC gets damaged, can we replace it? And if the MAC address will be the same or not. So as I said, your NIC is the hardware of your system that helps you connect with the internet and network. And if it is damaged, then yes, you can change it. You can get a new one. And yes, the MAC address will be different because as I said, MAC address is related to the hardware. If you replace the hardware, get a new one, you will get a new MAC address. So that's how it is. I'm feeling especially dehydrated today, so I'm having a bottle with me right now. All right. Don't mind that. Okay. So I will be taking questions, but I'll also continue with the topic. If there are any questions, you can put them up in the chat box. It's always open for you guys. So the first term today is kernel. What is a kernel, right? It's basically the kernel is the core part of the operating system, which basically interacts with the corresponding hardware. Right. So a kernel is what communicates with the hardware of your computer, and also it does it also supports and also is responsible actually for resource management. So this is the part, this is the you can say it's not like a physical or tangible part. It is the intangible part of the system which interacts with the hardware and ensures that everything is in line, everything is working absolutely fine, and helps your communication as a human that you're doing to the computer to be delivered appropriately to the hardware. It also helps in resource management if your all the devices are working fine and responding in the manner they should. So that's what the kernel actually does. You can actually modify the usage of the kernel by yourself as well. You can change it to an extent. It's highly configurable. Then comes the part called shell. Now, shell is the CLI interface, basically, the command line interface. You see this terminal in the background, this thing right here? This is the shell. In the shell, you can execute different commands. You can allow users to interact with the Linux system, and they can type commands, they can communicate, they can, you know, just get some results out of any particular script. So that's a shell. Now that's a point. That is the working of a shell. Terminal is nothing technically called a shell. That's what a shell is. There are two major types of shells. We are not going to go very in depth. One of them is Bash, and the other one is ZSH. They have almost similar kind of functionality. It's just that their script execution is a little bit different. I'm just giving you these terms, but you will understand them better when I'll start like taking it further or gradually in the upcoming advanced sessions. I'm actually also answering some questions which are coming up in the chat box. Okay. So the kernel's responsibility is to interact with your hardware of your computer, the setup. It interacts with your mouse and keyboard and hard drive and RAM and everything else. And it just takes your input, whatever input you're putting as a human, and interacts with all the hardwares if they are working fine or not. It also helps in resource management, like whatever resources are allocated. Let's say if certain amount of RAM is being occupied and how much is supposed to be allocated. So all that resource management is done by the kernel. Shell is just the interface like this right now I'm having over here. This is a bash shell. It's a normal shell. You don't need to go on the depth of different kind of shells and their usages. As of now, it's not going to be that big of a deal you should be looking into. So that's shell in general. It's just the terminal interface. Then when we talk about this thing terminal, it's the program that provides shell access. You see, it's the program that provides you the shell access. Shell is basically that interface where you can type commands and the computer will respond. But where are you going to do it? You're going to do it in terminal. Similarly, a similar concept is VLC media player. The concept is of playing videos, right? You can play videos on multiple places, but VLC media player is one of the way of playing the videos. Similarly, shell is where you type the commands and everything, but terminal is the program where you type the commands, where the shell is running. So it's like that. Next, we have to understand something called a file system. Now, this is something that you should understand very, very carefully, okay? What is the file system? And I'm making 1,000 typos. I'm really sorry. Okay. Linux, as compared to Windows and Mac, have a very similar kind of file storage structure. It's called a hierarchical. That's how you spell it, right? File system structure. So there is a hierarchy. It's like a tree, if you can understand. So it looks almost like this. I have the annotation option is here today, guys. Awesome. Thank you so much to the ExcelR team. They are great people. So there is a directory. There is a folder on the very top which have many other subfolders inside it. There is A, B, C, and D, right? And let's say under C there are three more, under A there are two more, and so on and so forth. If it's X and Y, X goes further. So this is the hierarchy. This is the main directory that you have here. Oh, I don't know. It's not really typing it really good. I don't write this bad. I don't know why it's not doing it the way I should. Okay, never mind. So this is the main directory on the very top, right? And this is the root directory, which is denoted by a symbol. I'll show you what the symbol is. This root directory is the place of origin. Okay. After this, all the other directories are starting to emerge, and you can create other stuff. This is the main directory. This is the pattern, first directory of the hierarchy, and all the other directories are inside this main root directory. It's denoted by this symbol of a single slash. Single slash. This is the root directory. And after this, there are all the other directories like slash A, slash B, slash C, slash D. If I explain it with a better example, take a look here. When I'm in Windows, let's say I'm into music, okay? And I create a new folder here. I'll name it my playlist. In this folder, I'll create a new file, a text file, name it list of songs, okay? Now, if you will see on this section in particular, just look at this carefully. When I click inside it, it shows me a proper hierarchical location. I'll just copy this thing and show you this in Notepad, okay? You will understand it better. Yeah. If you see it here, the main root directory here is C, right? In that C directory, all the other directories exist. You understand that much, right? C is the denotation of the root directory. We have an alphabet based denotation in Windows, but in Kali or in Linux in general, we only have this slash symbol. That's it. That's all we have for the denotation of the root directory. So if you are going to write a complete path of a particular file, so in Windows, we type C slash user slash Akash Sharma music playlist, right? But in Linux, we start with slash. Let's say I am in home slash Kali slash desktop slash go so on and so forth, whatever. So the first root directory is denoted by the slash. There is no name or alphabet based denotation for the root directory. So if whatever begins with the first slash, the beginning one is the root directory. Okay. Then there is this thing called users and group. Well, as I've told you, Linux is a multi-user system. That'll be the right word. Yeah. It's a multi-user system. You can create multiple users, and then there are multiple groups of users as well. Let me show you now. Let me explain you this. Okay, hold on a second. All right. So there are three major type of groups. There is a root, There's a normal user, and then there's a guest. Root basically is the owner, you know, or in other words, we call him the admin. He's the administrator of the system. He owns the whole system. The user account is governed. Actually, it's how should I say? It's actually governed, and there are very specific kind of permissions it is provide it is given actually, and this comes under the root. But the guest account have the least amount of access because he's a guest. Least access. Obviously, when you have guests at your home, you don't give them the complete home access, right? There are some things that you hide from them. You don't let them go in there, right? Some secret places, maybe something like that. So here, the root is the owner, user is a normal user, and guest is the least access user. Here, I am right now Cali, which is a normal user. I'm not root right now because admin's name is admin. You cannot change the name of the admin, but you can create as many users as you want. Root's name is root. You cannot change the name of the root, but you can create as many users you want. You can get 50 users, there's no problem. But root name is always root, okay? Because he's the admin, right? You cannot change its name. It's the administrator. So that's how it is. There are three user groups in here in Linux: user, root, user, and guest. I'll explain this in the upcoming command section as well. Then we have something called as processes. We know processes are nothing but the task and scripts running in the background. Simple. We already know this. There's no such like rocket science in here. Uh, okay. Yeah, rest everything I have already explained. See, permissions here also plays a very important role. We don't call them permission, actually, we call them privilege. Okay, that's what we call it. We call it a privilege. So every kind of user account have a specific kind of privilege. So the root account have the admin privilege, he's the owner. The user account have somewhat, specified privilege, but the guest account have the least privilege, as I just explained to you. So permissions also plays a very big role in here, because if I'm going to access a particular file or access a particular script, if I don't have the privilege to access it, I cannot access it. I need to take the privilege from the senior person. It's just like that. Like in your corporate scenario, when you don't have the access, you ask for permission. Exact the same thing. So now I'll show you some commands in Linux that will also help you understand how to use it better. Let's understand this interface first. Okay, this is a very tricky interface. You have never seen it before. It looks weird, I know. Just give it a try. So I'm going to explain you first this thing right here. What is inside this terminal? How do we really interpret it, right? Because you have never seen it before, have you? So let's just make sense out of it. So there are a few elements I'm going to divide it into. First is Cali at Cali. Then there is this symbol, and then there's this dollar sign. Everything else is just the designing part. You can ignore that. But these are three elements that you have to understand in this terminal right now. If you understand it, then you will get the most of the idea of how Linux actually works. This right here on the top is nothing but just a writing format of a username at the rate PC name. So let's say if my username in case was Akash, it will look like Akash, and my PC name was my system. So this is how it would look like, which makes sense here because the system's name The PC name is also Kali, and the username is also Kali. So that's why it's showing Kali at the rate Kali. Otherwise, if I would have made another user here, it would show my name, let's say Akash at the rate Kali. So that's a difference. And this is the representation of a username at the rate PC name so that we can know who is logged in right now in this terminal. It shows me what kind of privilege I have, right? I am just a user account, right? For the sake of privilege notation, there is another symbol that is used here, which is this dollar sign. So you have to understand this clearly. The dollar sign actually represents the normal user account, but the pound sign, like the hashtag sign, represents the root account. It represents the administrator account. The pound is the admin, dollar is the normal user. So that way you can understand it. I'll show you what I mean by all this. So right now I am just a normal user. If I type here, you see your terminal is so interactive. If you just ask who am I, just the way I did, no space in between, this is a command of Linux which tells you who you are basically. So when I do this, it says that I am Kali. It doesn't say I'm root. That means I'm just a normal user. But if I quickly do this thing, and now you see, I do who am I, it says I'm root. So what I did is a whole different thing. I'll explain this later. I mean, in today's session only, just ignore it for now. But you can see the difference between the two user types. One of them is Kali, the other one is root. And you can see for Kali, there is a dollar sign there, but for the root, there is a pound sign. And the name also changed, by the way. It's now root at Kali. It's not Kali at Kali. So the root is the username right now, and Kali is the system's name right now. So that is a difference. I hope you got it. So these are the two denotations of your privilege in the terminal. It shows who you are so that you can easily understand. You don't have to type these commands all the time to know who you are. I'm going to the user account again to show you the demonstration properly. But we forgot about this symbol in between, this symbol. Yeah. This symbol is actually called a tilde. TILDE. That's what you call it. All right. Just to let you know, I'm going to call this a lot. This symbol, this dash symbol, the minus symbol, these are very layman terms. Professionally, we call it a hyphen. Okay. It's a hyphen and that's a tilde. Always call it the way it is. All right. In Linux, we are very specific about symbols and numbers and all this stuff. So it's very important you know these things. Otherwise, you will get confused and you will feel left out. So that's a hyphen, this small little dash symbol, and this curvy dash is called tilde. Okay. Now we have to understand here, there is a simple tilde over here. Let's understand what this tilde is. We're not talking about the hyphen. That hyphen is just for design part. We can, ignore it. The tilde actually shows you your default location. Now, what do I mean by that? I just said some stuff, but you don't get it, right? I know. It's okay. Now, this thing that I'm going to teach you, I can bet you nobody's going to tell you this the way I'm going to do it. Understand everything that you see on your Linux is in your storage, right? The moment you turn on your computer, the kind of things you see, icons, applications, softwares, right? The whole interface, everything is in your storage somewhere, correct? But you don't know where it is. You don't know where everything is, right? Similarly, when I open this terminal program in my Kali, when I open this thing, do I know where this is? Where is this location, right? Because I am going to talk with my computer, right? I'm going to execute some commands. And those commands will be, okay, understand this simple cycle. When I execute a command, it goes to the system storage, let's say hard disk, right? From that storage, it goes into the memory part where it processes that command, and based on whatever it have processed, it gives me back the result in the terminal. It gives me the response in the terminal, right? That's what happens. This is a simple cycle. I execute, it goes to storage, goes to memory, comes back to me, and then I again execute another command, and it keeps going on and on. What you have to understand it, everything being being dealt with your storage space. So your terminal exists somewhere in the storage, right? I hope this much makes sense. If it does, it's good. If not, please ask me again in the chat box. So everything exists somewhere in your storage, and your terminal also exists somewhere in your storage. You don't know where it is. Now, in Linux, it is important to know it because when you are dealing with certain kind of commands, you are dealing with your data, you're dealing with your storage, you're dealing with your files and stuff. So you need to know the proper locations of everything so that you can, execute commands a bit more efficiently. So it is very important to know where you are, what's your location, what's the complete path, where the storage is being made, where the file is being called from. All this stuff is very important. It might These kind of stuff we don't even care about in in Windows or even in Mac. Do you have ever cared about it? You never. You just click on the photo, it opens up, you click on the application, it comes up. That's it. You don't care where it is being stored. In Linux, we are going in that depth of the storage and the complete system architecture that we need to know about every single thing. That is why this symbol right here, the tilde symbol, helps us understand our default location, so that whenever you open terminal, this is where you are. So it's almost like you go to sleep, but when you wake up, your memory tells you that you are in your home, you're in your bed, right? So consider this tilde as whenever you open the terminal, it tells you where you are. So that from there, you can go to all the other places wherever you want to go. Similarly, when you wake up, you're in your bed. From there, you can decide if you want to go and have just brush your teeth or have a bed coffee or something like that, or just go in for exercise or whatever. So you can choose whatever you want to do once you know where you are. Similarly, once you know where you are in Linux, you can choose your further executions accordingly. So it tells you your default location. I'll tell you what is that location, but this symbol is just the denotation of that location in specific. So the location here is, where's my notepad? Okay. All right. So the location is /home/Cali. Now, again, it might not make sense to you, but you might be having a question that why only this location? Why this is the default location? I'll tell you, okay? As I told you, there are three types of accounts. There is the root, there is the user, and the guest, right? Everyone have their own space, actually. Root, user, guest. Everyone have their own space. The root users are assigned the most prestigious place in the whole memory system. They have their own kind of like an area to live. They have their own villa or something like that. So the directory that they live in is /root. Again, the slash is the root directory, and for the root user there is another folder there with the name root. For the user, there is a special place they have created called a home where all the users live. Let's say my system have 3 users and their names are something else. I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's say if I have 3 users, they will be in /home/Akash /home/ I'll take one of your names. Janavi, I can see. Right? And then /home/ I don't know, Vedant. So basically, all the users are going to be in a home directory. They are assigned a specific space in the whole memory system. It's not like they can live wherever they want. They will be assigned a particular home in the root directory. If you understand and bifurcate it carefully, you can understand it this way, that in the root directory, there is a home that is given to one of the users, Akash. Similarly, in the root directory, in the home, there is another home given to Vedant. So it's like that. But for root, the admin of the system does not need a home. He owns the whole system, right? So he can live directly in the root memory, not in a home directory, right? So he just owns it. That's why he lives directly in the root directory. There is a specific directory for root. There's a special privilege that is given to the root. The guests have a temporary account, so they actually live in a temp location. So we don't really care about the guest, frankly speaking. So if I just quickly summarize it, the admin have their own place to live, okay, which is root. The users are a little less privileged, so they are at least given a good home in a home directory. But the guest, they all live in a temporary directory because they are just like temporary accounts, so they are not assigned a proper space. They just live in a temporary directory, okay. So a temp directory is created with the name of TMP, which is deleted after they are logged out. So it's just like it's very dynamically allocated for a few, with a very few privileges that are given to them. So we are not going to even bother learning about it as of now. Later on, you can just research about it. But for now, we have to understand about the root and the user privileges. As of now, I am Cali, so it's very obvious that my default location will be /home/Cali because that is my username. If my username was Akash, it would look like this. If I was Vedant, it would look like this. So that is the point of this notation. I hope it is clear with everyone. Please type yes in the chat box quickly so that I can confirm that you guys are on the same page. Okay, I see a lot of yeses, which is really good. Thank you so much. Okay. This is one of the most complex things that you have to understand, which you have understood already, and I'm so glad about it. So these are the three things that are explained every time, that are shown every time whenever you open terminal. If I open a new terminal, I'll close it and open another one. Same stuff, right? So this way, the system is just telling you the basic and the fundamental information about where you are, who you are, and what kind of privilege you have, right? So system do that basic stuff for me. Now, some of you might forget that what is this tilde, right? You still don't know where you are. I mean, when you open the terminal, you're in the default location. But let's say you traveled somewhere in the system. Okay. You went into some different parts of the memory, but then you forgot where you are. Then what? Because the tilde will only tell you default location, right? How will you figure out where you are? How will you figure out that what is your current location? So for that, we have a command which is pwd, which actually stands for present working directory. The pwd command actually tells you the present location of your terminal in the memory system where you are actually. So when you type pwd and press enter, you will see your default location because that's where I'm right now. But if I go somewhere else, let's say I type pwd now, it shows that I am in /war/www. Also, for those who have really good observation, it's also shown here. Instead of that tilde symbol, it shows it right there as well. But in most of the cases where you have traveled a really in depth of some memory location, it doesn't show you the whole space. It just tells you your current folder name. So then to know your complete location, okay, you know what? I'll show you an example with that. I'm just going to show you an example. Just give me a quick second. Ah, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm trying to just show you a good example here. Hold on a second, okay? See, the permissions matter. I cannot go inside this file. I cannot use it. It says permission denied. So the permissions matters a lot. We can see an example here now. So when you are in such big locations, sometimes the Linux doesn't show you the complete path. It just shows you your current location folder and that's it. So in that kind of scenarios, you need to depend on the pwd command in order to get your complete path, that where exactly you are. So from the very root directory, it shows you that you are in a folder called proc and then so on and so forth, and that is your current location. So this way we can also identify our current locations with the help of pwd command. Okay, next we also have ls command. What does it do? It lists. Yes, it shows you the list of the content. Now I know that this is my current location. I am in home/Cali. But do I know what is exactly in this Cali folder? What is there? I don't know about it, right? So in order to check for that information, hold on a second. Yeah, okay, better. I do ls. When I type ls and press enter, I can see all the list of the content inside that folder. So all this right now is inside my Cali folder. Come on, man. Yeah. So all this is inside the Cali folder. That's where it is. So it's like slash. There are many folders under. Okay. Okay. Hold on. So you can understand this way. This is the root folder slash. Under this slash folder, there are so many folders. There's one other folder called home. Under the home folder, there is another folder called Cali. And under Cali, there are so many things available, which is like the desktop, the documents, the downloads, videos, so on and so forth, all this stuff, whatever is listed. So this is the hierarchy. The root directory is the slash folder, the root folder. Then there is the home directory, which is inside the root directory. Inside the home, there is Kali, and inside Kali is all this content. I can only see the content of the directory after I am inside the directory. So the ls command will work once I am in the directory. Let's say I want to see the content of desktop, right? So how can I do it? So there are two ways of doing it. Either I can go inside the desktop or I can just type ls desktop, enter. It shows nothing because of course it's empty. So that's how it is. I can do ls in order to find the list of all the files and the content, basically files and folders, all of it. Okay. Folders are the directories which contains files. Files are different kind of files. If you, I mean, I can't really put a finger on what is a file. You know what is a file already, right? Like PDFs and JPGs and stuff like that. So that's a file in general. Okay, give me a second. Okay, yeah. So that's ls command. Now ls have different kind of variations. Now here is an interesting thing, guys. When we are talking about the commands have a very good friend that comes to help a command, which is called a switch. Commands plus switch. It's a great combination, by the way. And what is it used for? I'll tell you. See, commands are certain strings that helps you interact. Okay, it's just a string that helps you interact with the system. But the switch changes the behavior of this command. It's almost like when you say a sentence to me, there are certain tones of saying the sentence, right? When I say, "Oh man, you are silly," that means I'm just like kidding and I'm just in a light mood. But if I, just deepen my tone and I call you silly, that means I'm angry at you and calling you silly. So switches are like the tone of your language. The switches help you change the behavior of the command, that how the command is going to, interact with the system. Switches can do that. Now I'm going to show you an example of a switch. If you see, ls is a normal command, right? It's just to show the list. But if I want to change the behavior a little bit, I want to show a different kind of list. I want to show the list, but just with a little bit of change. So what I'll do is I'll add a switch here called ls hyphen l. Hyphen l actually provides a detailed list of detailed list with the permissions, uh, size, and more. There's a lot of stuff, right? So it now gives me more detailed information. I just change the behavior of it. ls do the regular stuff, the listing stuff, but the hyphen l, the switch that I added, it changed the behavior. I'll show you what I mean by that. The ls command, if you will see, when I do it again, ls, it just shows me the regular stuff, right? Normal kind of listing. But if I do ls hyphen l, the listing is different, isn't it? Because this switch changed the behavior. Now you might imagine how I'm going to remember all this thing. Trust me, it takes time. Okay, it took me at least like 7-8 months to learn the complete Linux. It's okay, you're not going to learn in a couple of sessions, so it's going to take time. But I'm just giving you the introduction to the concept of it so that you can do your research. All right. So hyphen L is to give a more detailed view of the list. So now you see I have a lot more information instead of just the name of the files and folders. I have the permissions. I'll explain you how to read them. I have the owner information, the size of the folder, the date, and the time it was created. So now I have more detailed information about this particular directory and for the files also. If you ever get confused that how can you assure that this is a directory and this is a file, because I can create files without extensions, and then how would you figure out is it a directory or file? It's simple. When you do ls-l, when you do this command, it shows you the permission table over here. If you will consider, in the case of a directory, there is a D in front of it. You see, there's a D in the very beginning. It denotes it's a directory. But for files like file.txt and testing.txt, there is nothing. There is a blank hyphen. That confirms that it's a file. So to differentiate between a directory and a file, you can see with the help of ls-l and see if there is a D. If there's a D, that means a directory. You can go inside this directory and see the content of the directory. But if it's a file, you can simply open and edit that. I mean, you can interact with the file the way you want. So that's how it is. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So that's a switch. Switches help you to change the behavior of a simple command, just like I did with the hyphen L. Hyphen L. Switches are mostly added with a hyphen. Okay. A hyphen is always added for a switch. So that's the thing. Remember it. Okay. Now, okay, I told you about something going inside a directory. How would you do it? So there is a command for that called cd. Cd command is to change directory. So currently my directory is home/Kali. Okay, right? This is my current directory. I'm in Kali right now. If I want to go further, I will do cd destination name. Here my destination name is, let's say, downloads, right? So I'll do cd downloads. Simple. You see? So that's what we do when we have to change our locations in Linux. This is to go forward. But what if I am in Kali right now? If I do cd downloads, it will change it like this: Kali/downloads, right? But what if I want to go back? What if I want to go back in home? Then there is a command cd and two dots. That's it. Two decimal points. No spaces in between them. cd space two decimal points. These two decimal points denotes a step backwards. Okay. One step back, 2 points. Two step back, 4 points. Three step back, 6 points. So on and so forth. All right. You get the idea of it. Five step, like four step, so more dots. So it's like that. So it's the pair of these two dots which denotes one single step back. Okay. That's what it denotes here. Just a second. Okay. Yeah. So yes, step forward, then you need to give the destination name. Step backwards, just two dots. cd destination name to go forward, cd space two dots to go backwards. So if I want to go in downloads, I do cd downloads. If I want to go back in home, I do cd two dots. Now understand, if I am here in home/Kali/downloads, and if I do two dots here, so what will be my current location? It will be home/Kali, because earlier I was in downloads and I get step back, right? So one step back is Kali. Another step back goes to home, and another step back. If I do, okay, let's take a look here. All right, let's just take a look here. Let me show you this practically. So let me go in downloads right now. Oops, there's nothing. Okay, so my current location is what? Right. Okay. So my current location is /home/Kali/download. I'll go back one step. cd two dots. Enter. My current location becomes home/Kali. I'll go back another step. My location becomes /home. That's it. Because from Kali I came to home. Now if I go back one step, where will I go? Guess what? When I do pwd, shows me only the slash. Now I am in the root directory, right? This is where all the data exists, because this is the main directory. This is the brain of the Kali, right? This is where everything is stored. So that's where I am right now. I cannot go back beyond this because this is the point of origin. You cannot go beyond 0, right? You cannot go into the integers. Practically, it's not possible. So if I do cd two dots again, it doesn't change. It is still in the same place because it cannot go beyond further than this, right? Practically, it's not possible. I mean, of course, you get the idea for it, right? So that's how you actually travel in different directories from one place to another and then backwards. I've already told you the commands for it. That's a cd command. Uh, you have already seen a lot of directories so far. How about we create one directory? How about we can make our own? Let's say I am in home right now. I'm in home/Kali and I have these many directories. And I want to create my own directory called, I don't know, micro. I want to create a directory called micro. So I'll type here a command. The command's name is mkdir. By the way, for those who are curious, I'll share a document with all these commands, all the descriptions, all the variations. So you will have the record of it. So don't worry, okay? Don't get too excited. I'll share everything. Okay, mkdir is short for make directory, which actually I don't need to even complete my sentence. It makes directory. So as of now, I don't have a micro directory. I don't have a directory with the name micro. So I'll type mkdir and I'll give the directory name micro. Press enter. That's it. I do ls. See, what do we have here? Micro. That confirms that the micro directory is created, right? To confirm it's a directory, I'll do ls-l. See, micro right here is a directory. It says D in the front. So hence proved, right? Just a second, guys. All right. Okay. But I just told you to create a directory, right? What if you want to create a file? Let's say you want to create a file. Okay. So somebody just asked me a good question that the blue denotes the folder and the whites are files. It's not going to be always the same. This is just a color-based representation in Kali Linux for your ease, for your feasibility. But it's not always going to be there. If you are working with core Linux, in the advanced version of Linux, there are no colors schemes such like this. It's very fundamental and raw. It's just black and white. So you cannot really differentiate, but just by looking at it sometimes. So you just have to depend on this hyphen L so we can understand. See, Kali is also nowadays becoming more and more user friendly. So they want users to be more, just comfortable with whatever they are working with. So for that reason, they have added this color scheme there. But trust me, it is not good to depend on this. You should know the actual logic behind it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Sandesh, for pointing it out. All right. So far we have seen how to create a directory, how to change directories, how to travel in Linux and go here and there, all that kind of basic stuff. Let's also see how we can create files. Okay, now I'm going to teach you a specific command, which is very controversial actually. And this is one of my favorite interview questions. Whenever I take interviews, I always ask this question. And trust me, 70% of the candidates don't know the right answer to this. And that is one of the, a takeaway for me that this person is not prepared with Linux. There is a command called touch. Okay. For those who are working with Linux, can they quickly tell me in the chat box, what is this command used for? For those who know about Linux, tell me in the chat box, what is this command used for? Quickly. Okay, a few of them are saying to create a file. All right. What about other guys? Blank file. Okay, to create a blank file. Fair enough. Okay. Anyone else? Chitra says the same. Pramila says the same. Create files, create files. Okay, okay. Anyone else? If I were taking your interview, I will definitely mark a negative point here. Touch is actually to update timestamps. I know you will be disagreeing with me that yes, we can create files with it. There's a logic behind it. Trust me and understand this. Touch is actually developed with a purpose. Even in the manuals, it says Touch is a program that updates the timestamp of a file. Now, what is a timestamp if you ask? We just saw it right here. This thing right here, the date and time, it's called a timestamp. Now, this timestamp needs some time updation based on whatever new things you're doing with it. Okay. So it's like It's like when you touch me, you're updating me that you are here with me, right? So it's just like that. The touch command is just to update the timestamp that we have worked with this, and this was the last time it was modified. But what if the file does not exist in the first place? Now understand this very carefully. The timestamp for this file called file.txt is September 17th, 10:58. Current time according to my system is September 28th, 6:31. You can see on the top, right? Now, if I type here touch file.txt, I press enter. Oh, it says permission denied, huh? All right. Okay. Okay. Don't mind what I'm just gonna do, but just look at the touch command. Okay. You don't have to look into the rest of the stuff. So touch file.txt. I just did that. Okay. And the previous timestamp was 17th September. If I do ls-l now, you will see the timestamp is updated to the current time, 6:32 September 28. That's what it did. But what if the file.txt did not existed in the first place? That is when, and that is only when Touch will create a new file with a new timestamp. So this is what will happen. Let's say right now there is no such file with the name of akash.txt. And if I do akash.txt, it doesn't say or show me an error. Instead, it creates a new file for me. So that's an additional functionality, not the primary functionality of touch command. The primary functionality is to update the timestamp. Additional stuff is that if in case the file does not exist, it will create a new file with a new timestamp. So that will be the right answer in an interview. So you see now there is a new file with the new timestamp, akash.txt, which was not there before. But if there is a file with the same name before, it will just update the timestamp. So that is the primary function of it. So if you are this, if this is what you ask in the interview, that's how you answer it. Right? Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Padmani actually gave the right answer. Good job. Everyone else was the same. Because I know most of the YouTubers are teaching the same stuff. It's actually not. I mean, it's not just with touch command. And trust me, if I start teaching you Linux in depth, I can teach you at least 100 commands which are taught incorrect, and there's a whole different meaning to all those commands. There's a command called chown command, which is a little bit advanced command to change the ownership of the file. And I can assure 60% of you still don't know what that is, even if you have been working with Linux. So that is a very sad part, but it's okay. We are here to learn. We learn everything every day. We learn every new thing every day. Yeah. Okay. Uh, okay. Yeah. By the way, Linux is very case sensitive. So if I'm typing touch, it will take only in lowercase. If I type it with a capital T, touch new file.txt, what does it say? Touch command not found, because it's a capital T. So it's very case sensitive. You have to be very specific about what you're typing. When you're typing it, always make sure that your cases, like your uppercase and lowercase, is very specific to what you're working with. So if I type a capital T, it does not take this as a valid command. Always go for the appropriate case. All right. I hope you got the idea of it. Now we have seen creating a file, creating a directory. Now let's also look into how we can remove these things. So removing a file is very simple actually. You just have to do, let's say I want to remove this file, akash.txt. I'll type rm, which is to remove a file, akash.txt. Simple, rm, file name. It removes it. I press enter, done. ls-l, it's not there anymore. It's gone, deleted, vanished. And also guys, there is no recycle bin here. So if you delete something, delete it carefully, because it's not going to come back. So once it's gone, it's gone. Okay. So that's something you should know. Okay. If you delete something from the terminal, it's gone. All right. RM command is to remove files. But what if I want to remove a folder, a directory? If I want to remove micro, Okay. If I do rm micro, what happens now? It says it cannot remove it because it's a directory. For directories, there is a different command, by the way, which is rmdir to remove a directory. Okay. So I type rmdir in micro. Now it removes it. See, it's gone. So there are specific commands for files and directories. Rm is just for a file. Rmdir is for deleting a directory. Now I'll show you a condition where I'll create the micro directory again. And inside the micro directory, I'll go in micro directory. Here is nothing, it's blank. I'll create another directory called random. Okay. And I'll also create a file touch blah.txt. Okay. So now it has some content inside it. I'll go back. Here is a micro directory. You can see earlier when I did rmdir micro, it worked out, right? It deleted the directory. But this time, if I do rmdir micro, see what happens. It says I cannot remove it. Why? Because the directory is not empty. It has some content inside it. So now the whole situation changes. So I'm going to type some commands. Please look at them carefully and try to understand and make sense out of it. So rm command is for removing a file. Okay. rmdir to remove an empty directory. If the directory have some content, the command is different. Okay. So now we are actually going to change the behavior of rm command. By what? By adding a switch. rm-rf removes a directory with its content. Or for your better understanding, removes a non-empty directory. Okay. So now rmdir did not work because it said directory is not empty. But rmdir is used for directory, right? I just said that. So for the explanation, you can see the definition here. It only removes an empty directory. That's it. If there is a content, it will not remove it. It will show this kind of an error. So if you want to remove a directory with content, you have to type rm-rf, then micro. And now if I press enter, it goes. Because it's the right command actually. So these are the three variations of the same task. See, it's really beautiful that how we have so many variations to do a same task. The task is to remove something, but for a file it's different, for a directory is different, for an empty directory is different, for a directory with content is different, right? So this is what you have to understand. This concept will be clear, more understood once you start, practically implementing it. So once you start using it, it will just get in your head. So you just have to give you some time to it. I know you'll feel a little bit lethargic that, I mean, what is this bull crap? But no, it's really good. Give it some time. You'll get the hold of it. Okay, so that's rm-rf. This -rf actually removes folder with content inside it. But rmdir only to remove an empty directory. I always prefer not to use rmdir because there are very few instances that I delete an empty directory. rm-rf can do the work of both. It can actually remove both an empty and a non-empty directory. It can do both. So why not use it, right? So it's a better option, right? It can also remove empty directories. It can do the work of rmdir. So why remember two different commands? So there you go. I'm just teaching you so that if in case somebody asks you, you can, flex it, that you know about it. Who told you? Mr. Akash Sharma. Credit where it's due. Okay. So, okay, so let's take a quick recap. What have we have done so far? We have seen our current location. We have seen the files in the current location. We have seen how to go forward from current location, how go backwards from a current location. We have seen how to create a new location, like a new directory. We have seen how to create a new file, how to remove a file, how to remove a directory. We have seen all this so far, right? So far, so good. We have learned a lot of new stuff. For those who already knew, thank you so much for staying with us. I appreciate that. But I'm going to teach a couple of more stuff so that everybody knows these basics, right? This could be also a refresher course for you, maybe. I don't know. Yes. So the next task that we're going to work with is copy and paste. Copy and paste. How do we copy a file from one place to another and also paste it, right? Actually, copy, move, and rename. These are the three tasks that we are going to work with. How do you rename it? How do you move it? And how do you copy? Actually, these are all interrelated. So I'm going to tell you how to work with it. So let's I'm going to create two directories here for the sake of testing purpose. Oops. We don't have Terminator. Anyway, okay. That's all right. So this is terminal number one. I'm going to open another one. Okay, two terminals here, one on the right, one on the left. All right. So I'll create a directory called test1. Go inside test1. I'll create here a directory called test2. Go inside test2. Yeah, okay. So test1 and test2, they are two directories right now. In test1, I create a file called random.txt. Okay. I have it here, random.txt. If I want to copy this file from test1 to test2, these are two different locations. Okay. So I'll type a command called cp. Cp command is for copy. And the syntax of the command is actually simple, but it might overwhelm in the initial time. So it's cp file name destination name where you want to, copy it. So give the cp, give the name of the file, give the name of the destination where you want to copy this. Simple stuff. Type cp, give the name of the file, which is random.txt, give the name of the destination. Now, where is my destination? It's test2, right? If I type here test2, it will not work that way. I have to give the proper destination, which I can get by typing pwd. So I am in home/cali/test2. Okay. So I'll copy this and I'll paste it here, home/cali/test2. So when I press enter, it will copy this file. As of now, before executing this command, you can see in test2, there's nothing in there. It's blank. It's nothing. When I do ls, it doesn't show up anything. But after this execution, I'll do ls one more time and I have random.txt here and here both. So it just copied it over there. That's what happened. I'll remove it from test2 now. And I'll show you how to move it. Okay. As of now, you can see it's blank again. Nothing is there. Random.txt is still here. Next command is for moving a file. I'll type mv command. Have a exact same syntax. Instead of cp, we do mv space file name destination name. So type mv, file name is random.txt. The destination is the same, home/Cali/test2. So when I press enter, it will move it from this location into the other location. So I press enter. In test one, it's not there anymore. In test two, it is here. So hence proved. So it basically, just moved it over there. But now, how to rename a file? Anybody would like to share that in the chat box? I mean, of course, there are people who already know about Linux a little bit. Anybody want to share me the syntax for it? Sandesh got it right. Awesome. Okay. So to rename, actually, we use the mv command itself, but the syntax is different. Take a look what happens. Mv current name. You'd give the name of the file which is currently provided to the file, which is random.txt. And then you just give the name that you want to change. Let's say I want to change to the new name, right? So that's how you give it. So if I implement this result here, I have random.txt, I type mv random.txt. This is my current name that I have given. And if I give it a new name, let's say okay, you know what? Just to give you an idea and you understand it better, I'm going to edit this file real quick. Test2 random.txt. I'm going to edit this file and add some stuff into it so that you can have proof that it's the same file. This is some random stuff. I have saved it. Save. Okay, done. Awesome. So now this file has some content inside it. So we'll see if the name changes, the content stays there or not. Okay. So I'll type mv random.txt and I'll give it a new name called new name.txt because why not? Right. And press enter. It's done. And now you see the file has changed to new name.txt. And to see the content inside a file, we do a command called cat. Cat command is to see the content of the file without even opening it. So you can see whatever is inside the file. So I have edited the file name new name.txt. I have already added some content into it. So I'll type here new name.txt. You can see the content inside it. It is still the same. So that means the file just renamed. I just changed the name of the file. The content remains the same. The location is the same. It's just my motive is different. If I give a destination, like a proper destination, then it moves it there with the same name. But if I give it a new name, not a complete destination, but just a new name with the right format or the whole complete new name, then staying in the same location, it just changed the name of it. So it's that simple, right? So that's what happens. And Santesh gave the right answer. Thank you so much, buddy. So that's how you copy, that's how you move, and that is how you rename a file in Linux. Now you guys know it. Okay. MV command is used for moving and renaming both. Actually, copy can be also used, but again, I don't want to make it more complex for you. Just stick to what I have taught, and I think it will be good to go for usage. Rest, definitely, I want to keep an open window for you to do your own research, see how things work by yourself, experience it firsthand. That will be a better way to learn new things. Okay. All right. So yeah, this is the basics that we were covering up. There are a few more things. Um like we have this file here. called newname.txt. What if I want to edit this file? You guys will suggest that yes, you can do it by opening a notepad, right? Actually, no. I'm not going to open a notepad because guess what? Notepad is again a GUI. It's a graphical user interface, right? And we are against it. We are Linux users. We are hackers. We are more technical people. We are cool. We don't use graphical user interface. So Notepad application is a GUI, which we are never going to use. So we use something called Nano, which is CLI based Notepad. Isn't that interesting? So to edit a file with Nano, you simply just type Nano, right? And then give the name of the file newname.txt. So when I press enter, you will see the whole thing changes. There you go. It changed, right? Everything is changed now. It's a whole different place where you are. Now let's explore this page a little bit. So on the top, you can see the name of the file, newname.txt. In this section right here, in this body, you will see the content of the file, which can be explored, edited, modified, deleted, whatever you want to do. Like the way you do it in Notepad, you can do it here. At the bottom, these are the functionalities to be executed, like to close it, write, save it, all that stuff. As of now, just ignore this bottom part. You don't need to just confuse yourself with all this new stuff. See, this is the previous information, the pre-saved information that is already available in newname.txt. What if I add a new thing? Just observe what happens here. Okay, in this red circle, see what happens. So if I add new stuff inside it, like Akash, a star appeared in the end of it. So this star actually shows the unsaved state. This means that there are some new modifications that are being made. That means this file is not saved right now. There are some new changes that you have made that you need to save it. Okay. So this is what the star symbol actually notifies. Now, interestingly, here your mouse doesn't work. I cannot scroll up and down with my mouse in the content. I would have to use the arrow keys on your keyboard. You have these keys, the up, down, right, and left keys. So you have to basically scroll up, down, right, left with these arrow keys only. You cannot use your mouse because it's not a graphical thing, right? Your mouse is actually to interact with the graphical stuff. So this is CLI. So work with your keys. You see, I can go up, down, right, left, wherever I want with my keyboard, not with my mouse. If I want to come here after stuff, I cannot click and come there because my cursor is still on S over here on a cache. So if I want to come after stuff, I have to go up and to the very right with my arrow keys like this. That's how you navigate in this whole body function. That's how you type. That's how you edit files. Now comes the part of saving these files. How do you save them? It's also simple, actually. See, the thing is, the terms are a little bit different. The function and the concept is same. So when you are writing some new stuff inside a file, you save it and a file is created, right? Similarly, in Linux, we talk about three things: read, write, execute. Read, write, execute. Read is to, of course, read the file. Write is to make any kind of modifications in the file. Like writing in a memory could be also explained with adding a new file, removing a file, changing the format, whatever you can do. So you are able to write some new stuff inside the memory, right? So that's what it means. Execute is that you can execute any script inside it, that you can run programs or not. So there are three major permissions that defines all your tasks inside the memory system: read, write, execute, RWX. Execute is actually denoted by X. So RWX, there are three major permissions that we work with. Now, when we are saving a file, we are actually writing something inside the memory, correct? That is why we are writing an output. We are writing an output of this file that we just created. So what we will do is we'll create an output which will be with this current information that I have just typed in. So if I want to add some more stuff, Akash Sharma is a great guy, right? I know I am. So to save it, you do Control X, which will ask you, do you want to save this modified buffer? It's more, it's just a technical way of saying this file. You want to save this file, modified buffer. It sounds more technical, right? Makes you sound more important. So yes, I want to do it. So I will click on Y on my keyboard. I cannot, click with my mouse. I have to click on Y. When I do it, it asks me that what is the name that I want to give. Do I want to have the regular name, new name.txt, or do I want a new name for this file, like add a new stuff or change it? I want to stick to the one that I have already provided. I don't want to change the name of the file. So I'll just simply press enter. And as soon as I press enter, it goes back, right? It comes back to your regular terminal. You're back. You have done the editing part, you're back, you're saved it, and that's where you are. And if I do cat new name.txt, you see the new content that I just saved. So Nano is the text editor, the notepad in CLI. It's amazing to use. It's really handy. It works everywhere. Although for those who are really good with Linux, actually they might also tell you about this thing called a Vim. Vim is also a text editor, but I am not going into that depth of teaching you Vim because Vim is way too much complex. It's way too much technical to understand first and then implement. So it's better that you learn something simple in the initial time and maybe do some more research about Vim and see how it works. For beginners, Nano is great. I personally choose Vim because I mean it's been real long time using it and I know how to customize it accordingly. But for you guys, because you're beginning with it, so go with Nano. It's pretty good. It does a task, it will edit the file. That's what we need it for. And yeah, so that's how it is. So Nano is a text-based, CLI-based notepad. Now you remember it. Okay, so far, for those who already know Linux, congratulations for you. Kudos to you guys. You guys are amazing. Now, for those who didn't know and they are attending something new, I want to know, is there any doubt, any query, any question that you want to ask before I proceed? Because what I'm going to teach you now is a little bit more complex than what I have, taught you so far. So please ask me if there is any doubt right now, because I would love to explain again if there is any. We have 500 people here. I am up to take all these doubts. No problem. Okay, Miss Poshepa is having some query, but can you please explain the context? What exactly you want to understand? And Mr. Sadwick is asking what is CLI. So I think you didn't understood that earlier. It's okay. So it's command line interface. There are two type of interfaces for those who have missed it. It's a graphical user interface and a command line interface. So a command line interface is more technical, where you actually interact with your system with some commands. So there's just a terminal shell, which I just explained today. There's a shell where you can type stuff and the system responds you back. So it's all command based communication. But in graphical user interface, you are given some icons, a graphical icon that you can click on, and based on your clicks and your request, you will be getting a response back. Graphical user interface is very limited because the graphics that are created are very limited. They are I mean, there are only very few icons that are provided to you, but in commands, you can go to any extent you want. You can create your own commands, do all, any kind of stuff with it, communicate to whatever, communicate with the system the way you want. So that's why CLI is always better than GUI. And Nano is not GUI. Nano, I mean, when you open Notepad in Windows, like the way I'm using it right now, you can see on the screen. This is a GUI Notepad, right? I can click on these icons like cross, maximize, and minimize, and all these crosses and all these tabs open here, file button, stuff like this. So these are all graphics, right? These are all graphical interfaces, and they are very limited functionality even added these things. But in Nano, which is CLI based, it is all in my terminal. There is no such requirement for a graphical user interface here. So it's better. So that's what it is. Can we use this Linux command in Windows? No, you cannot. Linux and Windows have very different language. Concept may be same, language is different. It's like comparing English with Greek. It's that difference. So yeah, you cannot use these commands in Windows. Okay. Yasmin seemed to have an error with. Okay, so Ritik is asking about the VI command. Actually, VI is just an alternate to Nano. It's just like Nano, but a little bit more high level and complex. So I'm not teaching VI right now because I want everybody to be on the same page. If I teach a VI, I have to go in real depth, and that will be a little bit bouncer for a few people who are beginning. So I want this to be like a uniform session for everyone. So let's stick to Nano, which also does the task for you. Nano is nothing less than VI, trust me. Okay, it's as good as VI. It's just that VI is more a little bit more complex. There are some technical aspect of it that I can't really explain understanding the scope of this session. So I will stick to Nano. Okay. By the way, the attendance link is also being shared. So please fill out the feedbacks and the attendance in time. There are some questions that need answered. There are some very out of the box questions, out of the context question actually, that I'm answering in the chat box itself. Just a second. Okay. All right. So let's proceed. Okay. Yasmin is having difficulty downloading VirtualBox. Yasmin, I request you to kindly look into some solutions online. Um, Actually, I cannot extend my session one-on-one here, so unfortunately, I will not be able to help you much into this. I'm so sorry about it. But you can definitely look on YouTube about it. I'm pretty sure you'll get some result, or you can rewatch the videos for sure. The kind of actually error you're having, you will actually find good solutions on YouTube. That's why I'm saying I haven't gone into that depth of the error because it was not something that everyone faces. So this error can be fixed, but you have to look into YouTube. I cannot extend my one-on-one support here. So sorry for that. Okay. Next, what do we have here is chmod. We are going to understand chmod here today. Next. Okay. All right, focus, guys. Focus, focus. Chmod is actually a command to change and modify. Change and modify what? Permissions. Chmod is amazing command. Now focus on what I'm teaching here, okay? Just get back to the screens instead of the chat box. It's interesting. I told you about three command types: R, W, X. Read, write, execute. You already know about this, right? Every single file have these permissions, right? Now I told you that there are users as well. There is a root user, there is a root account, there is user account, and then there is a guest account. Three type of major groups are there, right? These are groups: root group, user group, guest, right? Now to access a particular file, if I explain it in a little bit better, just give me a second. Let me open my this thing called, what's that? The whiteboard. I'm sorry. I blanked out unknowingly. There you go. Okay. So here's the thing. For every user group, we have three type of them. First is root, then we have a user, and then we have a guest, right? What kind of permissions we are talking about right now? Three major permissions, right? RWX, read, write, execute. Root also have it, the user also have it, and the guest also have either of these three permissions, right? They all can do these kind of tasks. So when we talk about a particular file, let's say called file.txt, this can be accessed carefully, okay? Understand this carefully. Can be accessed by the root, can be accessed by a user account, can be accessed by a guest account. That means all three of them have this permission with them, right? So for this file, we also have RWX. The user also have RWX. Guess what? Guest also have it, RWX. So it makes a triplet here, right? Which looks something like this. RWX, RWX, RWX. Three sets of these. I don't know if you have been observing and if you feel that it is a little bit more relatable, you might have seen this before. If you go in the main directory, pwd cali ls-l, notice something here. We have the same stuff, right? I called this the permission table. Permission table. And guess what? It has the same set, RWX, another set, and another set. But we just noticed something is missing, right? There's a hyphen here. Where is a W? So let's understand that as well quickly. So imagine that this is a file that is having such kind of permissions. I'm going to name this file F, okay? And F have these permissions. Now, these permissions are basically given to the root group, the user group, and the guest group. What's wrong with my pen? Give me a second, guys. Okay, yeah, it works. All right. The root group, the user group, and the guest group. All of them have these permission. Now, what if the root, who is the owner, by the way, decides that I'm not going to give all permissions to everyone? So he designs in such a way that he have all the permissions, okay? He have all the permissions. The user only have the read permission, no write, and no execute permission, okay? And guests have no read, no write, only execute permission. So isn't that the similar kind of stuff that we just saw right here? We saw same stuff, right? In Kali. So there are some permissions that are missing. That means that permission that is missing is not provided to that group, which implies if we divide it into the triplets again, triplet 1, triplet 2, and triplet 3, RWX is given to the root group. R and X, that means only read and execute, is given to the user group. And again, read and execute is also given to the guest group. Right? So these are the set of permissions that are provided to different users. So isn't that interesting that this table actually says a lot about this file, that who can access it and how they can access it, right? So that's chmod. That's the permission table. Now, if I am a user, okay, I am an innocent user, I want the right permission. I want it. I can't stay without it, right? What I can do here is I can request the root that kindly please give me the right permission. So what I'll do is I'll execute a special kind of command called chmod. I'll show you how that works. But before I teach you chmod, let me tell you how to request to the user. Okay. How do you request to the sorry, let me tell you how to request to the root. Because as of now, I am Kali. That means I'm a normal user, right? I'm not the root. How should I take the permissions from the root? How should I take that? Root is not going to come himself and do it for me, right? I have to take permission from the root. So what I type, whenever I'm typing a command, let's say I type this command called rm main file.txt, and it says, buddy, your permission is denied. I can't let you do it. But if I type sudo rm main file.txt, it actually will be success. The reason for that is this sudo, this small little string that I added in the beginning of the command, does the whole magic for me. This sudo takes the permission from root, the admin, that this command that is being executed is with your permission, is with your blessing, you know. So whatever command is executed after that, root allows that. So that's the magic word the root needs, sudo. Sudo is actually short for super user do. sudo, super user do. Do it. You're requesting, please do it. Super user. Super user is the admin, basically. So sudo, that's the command. And sudo actually helps you execute commands with the root's permission, with their blessing. So if I want to change the permission of a file, I cannot do it because in the first place, I'm not the owner. Secondly, root have all the privileges. And definitely, I have to take the privileges from the root. So that's what I did. Now, if I want to change the permission, I use this command called chmod, which is change and modify. the permissions. So I cannot execute, change, and modify without the user's, without the root's permission. So I type it sudo chmod. But again, what do I ask? I will say, okay, there's this file called file.txt. Do I type, please give me write permission? No, it doesn't work that way. You have to give out certain command for that. Now, this is going to be interesting, guys. Okay, so pay attention, pay all your attention right now here. Leave everything, whatever you're doing. I'm just kidding. Okay. So there is this thing called a permission table that I'm going to show right now. Okay. Let me open the browser for you. There you go. If you go on Google, and on Google, just type there chmod permission table. You'll see it on the very front. This is just for a reference. Of course, I'm not asking you to depend on it, but again, for a couple of instances, you can use that table for the reference purposes. Go on Google and type chmod permission table. Oh, I misspelled it. If you go on the images, you will see this green image. This is the one that I'm actually looking for. This green image. It's by yeah, there it is. It's by the Geeks for Geeks. If you open this image in a new tab, this is going to help you a lot. You might think that how exactly it's going to help me. So take a look very carefully. You know your computer actually works in zeros and ones, right? It works in binary. A few of you might be engineering students, you know it works in zeros and ones. It doesn't understand words, right? Everything goes in zeros and ones. So there are binary conversions that takes place. And based on that, it takes and responds to your inputs. So if you will see here, these are the mode of the files, like different kind of permissions that can exist for a file. These are all the permutation that can exist for read, write, and execute. Either there is no permission, or there are all permissions, or there is just execute, just read, or just write, or either of these three. So these are all the permissions that can ever exist for read, write, and execute. Okay. Now, based on this permission, there are certain binary correspondence to it. Now, I am not going in again in the depth of conversions, because if I go into that direction, then I have to teach you a lot of things which do not actually correspond to the scope of this session right here. But to understand it, you will get the hold of it very easily. See, when there is no permission, the absence of a permission is denoted by a 0. The presence is denoted by a 1. So if there is RWX, then it's 1, 1, 1. You can see here. If there is hyphen WX, there is 0, 1, 1, because absence is denoted by a 0. So now when you convert this binary into the octal format, this is the kind of representation that you have. So it's very simple to understand that for all these corresponding permissions, these are the octal forms that you have to remember. Okay. So for certain kind of permissions, you have to define certain octal forms to your chmod command. Now see how it works, see how the magic actually works. What you have to do is, I'll go back in the let me make it smaller. Okay, I think this much is fine. So right now for this file, if you will see file.txt, the permissions are like rw dash, r dash dash, and r dash dash. So if you just write it down in a notepad, it will look something like this. RW dash, R dash dash, R dash dash. RW dash have a octal number for 6. R dash dash is 4. So this corresponds to 644, 644. This is the permission code for it. Now, if I want to change it, if I want to make it something like RWX, right? RW dash and R dash dash. So now the correspondence is for RWX, it's 7. RW dash, it's number 6. And for R dash dash is 4. So what I actually need to modify is from 644 to 764. So that's exactly the modification that I'm supposed to make to change the permission. So you see what happens when I do this. I'll type sudo chmod 764 and then the file name that I want to change the permissions for, file.txt. I'll press enter. It will take the password, of course, because I am taking the root permission. So it takes the password. I'll type the password for my Kali, Kali. That's the default password. And I press enter. It's done. I'll do -ls again. And this time you see, you compare it, it's changed. See, the permissions are different now. Now this is actually 764. So this way I can modify just by providing it with chmod by referring this octal format conversion. Now this is one of the easiest way of understanding chmod. If I go into the other method of it, trust me, you will not get the hold of it and it will not be fair with you guys. So it's better you stuck to this easier method. It's simple binary to octal conversion. The file mode is already given. The correspondence of a absence and a presence of a permission is 0 and 1. So you can accordingly convert it and then you get the result. And then you can, according to this code that you have got, you can provide it to chmod here. Now, if I want all the user types like the root, user, and guest, if I want all the accounts to have all the permissions, I'll go 777. Then everyone have all the permissions, right? So if I do it, you will see the difference. Sudo chmod 777 file.txt. Oops. You see, for file.txt, the permissions are all available. RWX, RWX, RWX. Here. Right? So that is chmod that converts and changes the permissions for different files in your Linux. And that's what we use it for. So what have we learned so far? If you take a quick recap before we end the session for today, we have learned Linux commands, a lot of them. I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them. The basics at least, so that you can use Linux in the beginning. How to change directions, how to change destination folders, directories, files, modify them, erase them, create them, edit them, right? Change the permissions as well. We have just learned chmod. So that was all for today. In tomorrow's session, I'll teach you a topic called information gathering and footprinting. This is going to be interesting, guys, because here I'll teach you how to do your research about a target, how to collect information about your target. It's going to be amazing, okay? So I'll teach you some tools, I'll teach you some websites, some platforms that are, of course, available, but you might not have heard of it. But yes, tomorrow I'm going to show you all of them with the practicals. Tomorrow we'll also have OSINT. Tomorrow we'll also have quiz. And yes, Xenia, we will do something called an OSINT. I'll teach you that tomorrow as well. So yeah, that was all for today, guys. I hope it was entertaining enough and you learned something, some new stuff at least. And thank you so much again, guys, for being so patient and being so cooperative with the team and with me. I am hoping that you guys are liking the sessions. If not, then please provide your feedbacks. We would love to know how we can improve it better, right? And in the tomorrow session, it's going to be important. So kindly do not miss it. Be available. I will see you guys tomorrow. This is your trainer Akash Sharma, and we are just completed day 4 for our faculty development program in cybersecurity. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe on the internet. Take care of yourself and stay hydrated. Thank you so much, and over to the XLR team.
Yeah, thank you, Akash. We enjoy the session a lot.
Thanks, Chandana. All right, I'll take off from here now.
Yeah, sure. Hope you enjoyed the session, guys. Is there any query for me? Please let me know. I'm sending the feedback link again in the chat box. I hope there is no any queries for me. Okay, then we'll wind up the session for today. Please upload material on LMS. Yeah, we will upload within 24 hours. Okay, Savita, we will upload. Okay, today's materials. Which link? You didn't mention name. Which link you are talking about? Feedback link, it seems. I'm sending again with you. You can update the feedback. You didn't receive my, I didn't receive my chart GPT certificate. Yeah, today I shared like 1500. Remaining tomorrow we are going to share that as well. Okay, guys, I'm sharing again with in chat box feedback link. Deepali, you can get materials and recording from LMS. You can go through that. Today notes also you will get in LMS. Vijendra is no issue. Today you can fill the mark the attendance, right? No issue, no issue. 65% is required for the certificate. So you will get in that. LMS link you want, right? Just a minute. I'm sending the link as well. Sorry, Sandhya, we don't have a WhatsApp group. I send now LMS registration link. Please, who don't have LMS access, please enroll in that. You will get a mail to your mail IDs. Yeah, in LMS, you can get access and all. I shared already. Again, I'm sending that widget. In YouTube also, I'm sending that LMS link. Please register. Yeah, we are sending 4:30 to 4:30 only. It will activate between 4:30 to 5:30 only. Feedback link. Yes, Deepali, it will take 24 hours to upload the materials. You have to wait. It's okay, Vivek, no issue. We want only 60% attendance for certificate. But we can't share yesterday link. That's why you are not sharing. Sonali, you get to know in the last day. We'll inform that. I hope there is no more questions. So we'll wind up the session today. We'll meet you on tomorrow same time. No, Sonali, there is no test for certification. Only we are giving participation certificate for this session. Yeah, we will send you to your mails. After session, after completing the program, 7 days, it will take to send the certificates. I'm sending the feedback link again. Make sure your attendance. Whatever I sent that registration link, please fill the questions. You will get a mail. So over mail, you can go through LMS. They will give access for that. Yeah, you can take printout also. Hello. Okay, then I'm going to wind up the session. Thank you. We'll meet on the same time tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye. It will start 3 to 5, 3 p.m. to 5, up to 2, 3 to 5. 2 hours program. 15 days it